I'm Chris Needham, Talent Development Coordinator with US Speedskating, and we've put together a series of videos to help you get lower. In these videos, we'll be featuring our head athletic trainer, Karen Ashwaya, and national team coach, Ryan Shimbakuro. We're gonna be looking at different things like how to warm up, how to increase flexibility, how to be stronger in position, and then after you're done in that position, how we can work our body so that we're not over-exaggerating anything and being really safe. One of the all-time best activities we can do for warming up is jumping jacks. It's really, really simple and it's often overlooked, but another great way for us to introduce good movement variability, body awareness, and cues that we'll be working on later. A simple jumping jack can be modified by changing the position of our hips. Hips down and hips up. Another way we can modify our jumping jacks is with adding a little bit of movement to them that we wouldn't normally do. So we're going into our jumping jacks, we're jumping forward, and we're jumping backwards. Another great variability we can mess with in jumping jacks is the tempo at which we do them. We can go at our normal jumping jack cadence. We can slow it down, which is a lot harder than you may think, or we can speed it up and go real fast.
Your hamstrings and glutes are important for that flexibility of the hip. So spending some time foam rolling both of those muscle groups can help improve that position. For the hamstrings, you may want to use some type of ball so that you can get in between the muscles. Again, rolling through that muscle, spending some time in the spots that are tender. About 30 seconds each side. For the glute, I still like to use a foam roll, sitting on the glute, crossing the side you're working on, that ankle on the opposite knee, and then moving through that glute. Again, finding those tender spots and working to release that muscle to increase the length of that muscle. There's lots of different ways you can stretch your hamstrings, but one is to sit tall through the chest and lean forward, eventually reaching for your ankles or your toes and holding that stretch through the back. Again, stretch for about 30 seconds so that you can work on that length that you improved with the foam rolling. For the glute, there's again lots of different ways to stretch the glute, but one way you can do is a figure 4, putting that ankle onto the knee and then stretching through the glute this way. Again, hold for about 30 seconds and then do your exercise.
In the previous videos, we talked about just the basic position and then adding a little dynamic vertical component in the two-legged squats and the water squats. Now we're gonna work in the lateral plane and go to the baby step. Now the baby step is just a one-legged isometric basic position, but you're not just walking forward. Now you may start walking forward initially when you're learning the movement, but then eventually there's gonna be a little bit of a weight shift to ensure that your center of gravity is over your supporting leg. So in the beginning, you're gonna again drop down on 2 feet, shift your body over to one leg, and just gonna walk heel to toe, pause, pause, pause. And then as you get more proficient, you wanna make sure that there's a little bit of a weight transfer to ensure that your center of gravity is getting all the way over your supporting leg, because when you walk too straight, sometimes your center of gravity is just gonna be in the middle, which is not what you want. You wanna make sure that you're completely over your pushing leg. Then we're gonna take it into a little bit of a side extension and work more in that lateral plane, because you wanna train and turn those hips, use those hips and turn the hips over to keep an extensive, effective push. So as you're out, straight out, and in the beginning, maybe your foot's gonna be on the ground. But once you take your foot off the ground as you get stronger, it's gonna be a much different exercise and you're gonna hit those outside hips much more effectively. Make sure your extended foot and toe is pointing straight ahead. Do not let it fan open toward the ceiling or the sky. Turn the hip over so your foot is pointing straight ahead. Finally, you're gonna add a recovery component to the movement. You're gonna let the knee semicircle around to simulate the recovery phase of the stroke. Make sure that you're keeping your ankle in a dorsiflex position so you're not pointing your foot directly down at the ground. You want to keep the toes pointed up to make sure that you can stay down and still have room for your recovery foot to come through.
Another way to open up the front of the body after skating is to move into a front lying position. Take your one arm to the side and push the ground away. As you come across, you can plant your foot behind you or reach back and grab your foot for the hip flexor. This can stretch through the shoulder and through the hip flexor of the opposite leg, really opening up the front of the body after skating position.